sure they can hear you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our camp application demo for summer camps. This is Jill Murphy. I'm the Membership and Post-Ops Manager, and I'm joined by my colleague Natasha, who is the brains behind our new camp application process. And we're going to just walk through everything that's going to happen this year with the camp applications. We're going to show you how campers create an account and apply, and then we'll show you some back-end stuff for those at the post level and how they'll be able to review the applications. If you have the opportunity to put yourself on mute for the time being, please do so. If you have a question, you can type it into the chat box, and we'll take all those questions at the very end of today's presentation. So let's run through everything, and let's get started. Okay, so for those who aren't aware, we have a new spring camp this year, which is going to be in 29 Palms, California. The application is live now. We've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 applicants already. And these are just the dates for this particular camp. This is sort of regional since it's a weekend camp. It's focused on the folks in the California, lower California area. So this is going to be our test drive to make sure that everything works and the functionality of the application process is what we are hoping it is. We have definitely tested this out, so this will be the real challenge before we go live with 100+ kids for summer camp. Here are our summer camps. This year we've got Army, Marine Corps, and 2 Air Force camps. We've got a new one that will be at Scott Air Force Base. As you can see, the application deadlines, where it says available to post, once Natasha makes your login live so that you have access to your camp applications, those are just going to be ongoing. They will continue to come in, and then the final cutoff date will be April 1 for camp applications. And then the nominee names are due to the camp directors by those dates. You get your camp contacts, emails, and just sort of our timeline for the whole camp process this summer. And yes, we can make these available to you, but it's also on the camp website. So essentially, the camp application process has changed in that it's completely online now, and it will allow us to better track our campers. So once they come to camp, we'll be able to continue to hopefully bring them back as staff or helpers, eventually maybe even mentors, get them into our college pipeline, and then through to young member and hopefully a new engineer. So essentially, they're going to apply online through our STEM camp website. They can select which camps they want to attend in order of preference. They'll select a sponsoring post and submit all the documentation, and boom, we're gone and away. On the flip side, like I said, posts are going to have access to all of the applications that come in. You will see them by camp on the back end. So you'll see, okay, here's everyone who's applied for Army. Here's everyone who's applied for, Air Force, Navy, or not Navy, Marines, etc. And you'll have everything that they would put on what they used to send in a paper application. Once you've reviewed those, you're going to get those back to the appropriate person, whether that's Aaron for Air Force and Marines or Henry for Army, and the camp directors will take it from there for the final selection process. Final sections, camp directors will notify you which students they've chosen. They'll figure out the payment requirements, and this year we haven't finalized the payment process details, but you're likely going to send everything to the national office instead of having to go to Aaron and then Aaron have to send it to us. So that's kind of where we are and what we've done with this new application process. The students hopefully will, this will be easier for them because it's not going to involve paper since they're all digital in the first place. And as I said, we'll be able to better track students throughout their career with SAME and hopefully to that point where they become a young member and an active and engaged member. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Natasha, who is going to walk you through the application process and what it looks like from a camper's perspective, what they're going to see, what they go through, and then she will show you the back end of the post and how you'll be able to view those applications. Okay, hello everybody. This is Natasha with SAME National. I'm going to walk you through a full application as to how a student would see it and what they would do to apply. And then after that, I'm going to show you the post portal so that you'll see how you'll be able to go in and see the applications and download them, print them. And I think you're all on mute at the moment, some of you. So what I would ask is that I'm not going to fly through it fast. So jot down any questions that you might have, and we can either talk about it after, or you can always contact me offline, and I would be more than happy to help. Okay, so if I'm a student and I want to go to the camp, the first thing I do is go to the SAME National website. I then choose the camp website. And here I can look at all the different camps. Now you'll notice that we do have the Engineering Exploring Academy camp listed here. It is something that the Boy Scouts of America have with the Atlanta Post, and therefore we've listed it here. However, this camp has nothing to do with us in terms of nominating students and whatever. So this Apply Now link goes to the BSA application and not any of ours. Similarly, the Air Force Academy, or not Air Force, the Coast Guard Academy camp is not tied in with us per se, so we've listed it here for them, but this application is completely separate as well. So this camp website, if they want to know more information about any particular camp, they can click this. It brings up a flyer. This flyer can be easily, it's a PDF flyer, so you can print and download it if you want to advertise the camps at a local level. It provides the basic information about where the camp is, what date it will be, what some of the basic criteria is, the camp deadline that they have to apply, the cost, and then who to contact if they have specific camp information. So once they've decided what camp they want to go to, they just click any of these Apply Now, and it throws them into this general application page. So what they have to do is this. If they're brand new and they've not created an account, they have to create an account first. If they've already created an account, they can just come and log into their camper dashboard. We have set up controls so that if they decide to bypass this and they click here, it's going to make them log in, which they don't have a login. So they have to come back and click the camper account. So the first thing they do is they're going to create a camper account. This is pretty standard. I'm going to just put in sample data. And I always use Walter Rushlow. The fields with the asterisks are required. The fields without obviously are not. They could put in a nickname. Most of them do. They are required to provide us with a mailing address. Excuse me, this is Stacy National. There's someone that just, I think they just, Oh, stop. Yeah, it just stopped. Okay. We just asked that you mute yourself if you add on to the webinar. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Anyhow, so this is another fail-safe in here. If they put in an email address that we already have in our database, and the only way that would happen is, number one, if they put in their family or their parents' email address, or they've already created a camp account and they can't remember their information, so they've tried to create another account. If they put in an email address that already exists, it'll tell them that they're already in the database and they either have to log in or email us if they can't remember their login information. So basically this prevents any kind of duplicates. So once they're done, they create the account. Oops. This automatically takes them to the page here where it explains a little bit about what they're going to do. They log in. Okay, and then this takes them to the camp dashboard. So if they had already created an account and they had login credentials, they can come back here at any time up until April 1st, which is the deadline. So what they have done, and we've gotten over 130 applications already, what they do is they go in here and they fill out some of the stuff, but some of the questions record, like there's 2 written essays, so they're not going to sit here and do the whole thing all in one fell swoop. So this allows them to come back and change their information whenever they want. So again, some of these fields are required. And they have to start filling it out. So they're going to put in their emergency contact information. They're going to give us their gender, their date of birth, and I will show you what happens if they put in a date of birth that is not correct. They have to have medical insurance in order to attend the camps. They have to be a U.S. citizen. They can or cannot be. They cannot have previously applied to a camp. Now, we do have notes on here, and not everything is controlled, but every day I go in and check the applications and make sure that if somebody entered something that doesn't look right, I reach out to them and say, you know, were you sure that you wanted to do this? And if they are sure that they wanted to do it, like for instance, they're not a citizen, then we have to let them know that they cannot attend the camp. So I tried to put in a older date of birth that tells me that I have to be 15 to attend the camp and to please contact me. We have had 2 cases of kids that are going to be 15 like the day that the camp starts. So we'll allow that, but there have also been a couple of 12-year-olds that have tried to sign up for camp. So, all right, I have to put in a good birth date. Okay, so after the demographics, this explains to them that if they have any dietary restrictions or ADA requirements they need to contact. In this case, we put Erin Ingersoll down as a catch-all. We can accommodate some issues, but we can't accommodate all of them. So rather than try to do a catch-all on the application, we just would rather them talk to somebody. So here we put in their anticipated graduation date, their GPA. We say that it would be good to have a 3.2. We don't require a 3.2 because there are camps that will take kids with the lower GPA based on availability and other activities that they've done. And then here they put in their school. I'll just show you real quick. So the school, the year that they took the class, and what they got, and whether or not it was an honors or an AP class. And they can fill out as many as they need, and there have been some that have asked for more, which is fine. Then we asked for extracurricular activities. Were they on a sport? So you could be on the soccer team. People have put all sorts of stuff in here, and they can be the president. So you can fill out all your top 10. I think we have 10 or 12 extracurriculars. Okay, so here they are required to provide a description of themselves, like who they are, and you know, it's sort of like a college essay type thing. And then here, why do they want to go to camp and why they would be a good candidate. So again, not everybody's going to want to do this in one fell swoop, so they can, whatever they've done to this point is saved, and they can come back and do that again. So once they're done, they have to pick a post to sponsor them. And some of them have picked 3, just in case the first one doesn't want to. Some of them have picked none, in which case we've gone out to them and said, hey, you really should pick a post to nominate you. I do know from the camp directors that in the end there are some kids that don't have any posts, and they are looked at as well, but we are encouraging them all to pick a post. Now, the posts are all here listed by city. So, like for instance, the New York Capital District post is in Albany, in the Albany area. It's going to be under Albany because the kids do not know that the New York District post is at Albany. And the classic example we always use is Kitty Hawk. Some of us think that Kitty Hawk, which should be in North Carolina, Kitty Hawk is actually in Dayton, Ohio. So the list here is by city. So they choose the post that they're interested, and they can choose up to 3, and then they submit the application. Okay, so then we tell them that your part 1 is done. If you need to go back and put stuff in, you go ahead and do that. But then you have to go back to the dashboard and pick your camp. Again, we have the Engineering Academy Exploring Camp here listed, but it's a different app, so it's not live. So now, let's say they decide, I want to go to the Army Summer Camp. So they go ahead, and this just repeats some of the requirements. You will notice that for the Army camp, they are required to do a camp character questionnaire. They have to give it to a guidance counselor or teacher or principal. And then they can click here, and they can, it's a PDF, the questionnaire, and it tells them exactly where to send it and who needs to fill it out and whatnot. So they can go ahead and print that. Then they come down here, they pick what priority this camp is on their list. We added obviously more than we have camps, but okay, so let's say that's their first choice. And then they click apply now. So it gives them a confirmation saying, okay, you've been accepted or not accepted. Your application's been accepted, and you can go back here and you can decide, okay, I am going to now apply to some other camp. So if you try to apply to the Army camp again, you're going to get an oops message saying you've already applied to this. So then they can go ahead and apply to the Marine Corps camp. Again, they can pick their second choice. Now I'm sure there'll be questions as to, are you allowed to apply first choice to all the camps? The answer is no. Again, there's a human interface on the back of this because it's our first year doing this, and we're kind of trying to work out all the kinks. So on the back end, we go in there and we check to see if somebody put the same camp, first choice, first choice, first choice. Luckily, because it's all electronic, we can just send them an email right out of our database and say, you cannot pick all 4 camps. Number 1, please let us know what your priorities are. So that is basically it in a nutshell. So they apply, and at the end, if you go to their camp, if they go to their camper dashboards, it tells them here, my camp application. So I applied to the Army camp, it's listed here. If I applied to all of them, they'd all be listed here. And like I said, they can access this whenever they want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out of here, and I am going to switch gears. So I apologize that you're all muted. I know we're getting questions on the chat line, and I think Allison and Jill are trying to answer them as we're going through this. Again, my email, which I'm sure you all know, is nroch@same.org. I will be more than happy to answer any questions during the call, after the call, offline, no worries. Okay, so now comes the piece where I'm sure you guys are most interested in. So what happens is, I see on the back end when applications are coming in and the posts that they are choosing. So starting tomorrow, I am going to take the posts that are getting the actual applications, contact the camp point of contact, and give them access to those applications. So we're going to use the Chesapeake Post as an example today because they do have a couple applications, and also we have Scott Prosuch who submitted like a tester camp app, and so he's a great test case for this. So if you were the Chesapeake POC or the camp POC, you would log into the SAME website just like you normally do. So it's your member number and your email or whatever it is that you use to log in. And then you're just going to go to your member account like you normally would also. Now, whoops, sorry. I'm still Walter. No. Okay. Okay, so if I were the Chesapeake camp POC, and I have just logged into my SAME account, and I go to my member dashboard, okay, this is what you normally see, your member status, you know, how to update your information, the whole 9 yards. Okay, what you are going to see, not this first part because that's just mine, you're going to see this one. You're going to see a camps section, and you're going to see your post and their applicants. So in this case, it says, view the Chesapeake Post applicants. When you click this, this will show you who applied to your post to go to a camp. So we can see here that Scott applied to go to 29 Palms. Andrew Feist, who's an actual camper app, has applied to go to the Army camp, but that's his second priority. He wants to go to the Air Force Academy camp. If he can't get in anywhere, he's going to Scott Air Force Base, and here's the third priority. So what you can do now is, and we're going to use his application only because it's a pretty full application. So if you click on this view application link, here's his application, his information, his emergency contact, what he chose in the demographics section, all of his academic information, what he did extracurricular wise, and then here he wrote 2 essays. He's asked for, now you say, well, why is Chesapeake there? Well, because even though he's asked Denver to sponsor him, he's also asked Chesapeake, and the post directors have said that we want to make sure that any post that they've asked for, if it turns out that all 3 want to sponsor him, then it becomes an issue that they will deal with between the 3 posts. But so that's why he's there. It shows you that he applied to all 4, and these are his preferences. And then, so this is an error because since he applied to the Air Force Academy camp, he has to choose, and if he were a senior, he has to state here whether or not he's applying to ROTC or Service Academy, and he hasn't done that. So before this goes final, we're going to have to reach out to him and say, you need to complete this information. But anyhow, so up here there's a link to say print this page, so you can go ahead and print the page, and then you have his full application. Now, my thing here is, you will have access to this, and you can go in and see who's applied, but the caution is that until April 1st, they can go ahead and change all their info. So, like in this case, he's not done. We can look at Ben Martin. I think he was missing his, oh no, he filled it out. But some people have not completed their information, in which case they have until April 1st to complete it. So the other thing I put out here is this. Some of you, you know, here you have 3 or 4 applicants, not a big deal. But if you have a post that has a lot of applicants and you would like this in some other format, you want an Excel spreadsheet, you want any kind of other data formats, I put my email up here with a link to please just send me an email and I'll be happy to send that out to you. This is our first year doing this, and despite what it looks like, it was quite the effort. So I don't want to overwhelm everything and the system with all sorts of bells and whistles. Otherwise, we're going to end up with something that just doesn't work. So pretty much this is it for this year. But again, we're going to fix things as they break, if they break, and we're going to do a lot of lessons learned so that next year it'll just get better. So that's pretty much it. And I am going to turn it back over to Jill. Just see if we want to answer any questions. Does everyone know the chat? Can everyone see the chat questions? Yeah, hopefully. And I think we've answered some of them. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the questions just in case they came from you or you're interested in them. It says, do the students apply for all camps or just the one they want? And obviously they apply to as many as they want. They have to list the preference. Okay, the deadlines should all be the ones that were in the PowerPoint. I did notice that there's a little bit of conflict maybe between the flyers and the apps. I have to fix all of that, and I will notify the campers if there's anything that has been updated. It says, why can't the kids reapply if they applied previously? Okay, they can reapply to the camps. We just kind of want to know that, because if someone got passed over last year, you know, maybe they'll be getting a better look this year. Applying to a camp doesn't prevent you at all from attending this year, but if you went to a camp last summer, then you cannot go this summer. So somebody wrote, can you possibly let the candidates know what the essay requirements are in advance so they can clip and paste? And my response is that because they can go back to the application at any time, they can read the prompts and they can go back and fill them in. So we kind of we don't need to let them know ahead of time. There is not a Navy camp this year. After sequestration, which I believe was in 2013, maybe, the Navy stopped having the summer camps, and I think they're looking for a champion to have the Navy camps again, but there is no Navy camp this summer. Okay, this is a good question. It says the flyers online show a registration fee of $600. The online application appeared to show a fee of $580. That is correct, and it is a discrepancy. And I will, that is a problem that we've had internally. I will update everything so that it is $600, and I will let the campers who've already applied know that. If somebody has a major problem with that, we'll deal with it internally, but the price has gone to $600 this year.
Except Army Camp. Army Camp's still $100.
Except for Army Camp, sorry. Army Camp is still $100, and the 29 Palms Marine Camp, which is only 3 days in April, is $30. So the question was, how do posts let you know of their decisions? And the posts this year is going to, the posts this year are going to just let, so for instance, if they have a bunch of campers that are going to the Marine Corps camp, they're going to send their decisions to Erin. They can send them via email, they can call her, and what they'll be doing is just saying, here are our campers in either rank order or whatever. That's going to be a simple just, these are the folks that we want to sponsor or we want to nominate. And because Erin has access, all the camp directors have access to all the applications. So they don't need paper applications, they don't need the files, they just need to know, these are our 10 kids, 2 kids, however many kids in rank order, and then the camp directors can go online and download the applications as to what, you know, to see the kids if they actually want to evaluate them. The other thing it says, it looks like the Vicksburg character statement was due prior than the April 1st date, and that is correct. Again, we kind of jumped the gun this year, so I will fix that so that the dates are all compatible. Another question was, just to verify, the application no longer requires school transcripts. And two things. Number one, the school transcript piece is totally up to the post. So there are posts out there that will want a school transcript. They can go back to the kids and request a school transcript. But as a general rule, we do not require school transcripts. They've put in their grades, and so if we feel that there's a reason that we don't believe them, then the post who's picking the kids can ask for a school transcript. The other thing is, sorry, one of the post directors just emailed to say that all post decisions have to be in writing. So the camp POC, when you have come up with the kids that you want to sponsor, you need to send an email to the camp director indicating which kids you are going to potentially sponsor, which kids you nominate, and basically what your decisions were. The other thing I want to point out is that right now we're just gathering applications, trying to get them all completed, making sure the kids are filling out what they need to fill out. And so once we're done, and once you have access, like I said, there's a human piece behind all this year, and we're gonna walk through this so that we can make sure that we don't hit any glitches or try to minimize them. So basically, you send an email to the camp directors with your candidates. And in this PowerPoint presentation that Jill did earlier, there is a slide that shows the dates, the camp director, and their email. So you should be able to know who to send your candidates to or your nominees to. And again, if there's any questions, just please email or call me for sure. It looks like that's about it for the chat. So,
any other questions?
No, they're all muted.
Well, any other questions, they can certainly reach out to Natasha. You can reach out to me. We'll make sure that everything is compatible with dates and prices. We'll get that all straightened around. But yeah, Natasha gets huge kudos from me for putting this together, because this has been a lot of work and a lot of trial and error to get us to an online application process. But again, overall, this is going to be, I think, a really positive addition for us in being able to track our campers and hopefully turn them into young members and engineers. So with that, I think that concludes our program for today. You getting any other questions?
Yeah, okay, so 2 more questions just came in. It says medical release forms or insurance info needed, and the answer to that is both, but we're not collecting that until after they have been selected. So depending on how things go and basically how much time I have between now and the selection process, with the kids that are selected to the camps are then going to be notified, and they are going to have to upload their medical release forms, their insurance forms. We're hoping to be able to have them just go back into their dashboards and upload those documents straight into our system, which I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to do. But yes, they will need both a release form and insurance information. And then the other question that came in is National going to fund any applicants? And I am going to have to defer that because I have no idea. The foundation may, but
there was something, I'm trying to remember exactly what the foundation said that they were going to help with, and I am drawing a blank at the moment.
So we'll get back to you on that. I don't know that they are not.
Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, this is Scott. The process generally is the post, let's say a typical post gets 5, let's say you get 10 applicants. 8 of them are qualified applicants. Maybe you only have the funding in your budget to cover 3 of them. You're going to send somebody to the Air Force, somebody to Scott Air Force Base, somebody to Camp Lejeune, and somebody to the Army. So you've covered 3, but yet you still have 5 more qualified applicants. Depending on how the camps fill up, what we will do now, since we have 100% visibility of all of the campers, we would like you to nominate, or at least to nominate, I guess, the other 5, the ones that you don't have funds for, put them forward with the understanding you are not going to fund them, but you consider them qualified candidates. And so if we are short in any particular category, this is what we really do every year, is we reach into that pool and we rank order those kids. and to the best of our ability, we try to get them slots in the camps. And then what we'll do is we'll do some horse trading among the posts. So, pick a post, not to be pejorative, but if Cheyenne, Wyoming possibly doesn't have, they want to send somebody, but they don't have applicants, but they have money. So they may end up sponsoring somebody out of, out of Space Coast or something like that. So they can come from all over. And then if we still have some kids that we want to get into a camp, but the money isn't there and the family can afford it, we specifically ask the family, we let them know up front and they agree, but they may have to pay their own way to get into the camp. So that's generally the way it goes. If we have a totally underrepresented kid that, from an underrepresented category that may not have the financial wherewithal to make it work, one way or another, we'll probably figure this out. But that's the way the process will work. And the beauty of this new system is we'll have visibility of the entire universe. So this is kind of a two-edged sword, but we'll have visibility of the whole universe of all the kids that apply by post. So it's a two-edged sword because one, it's good for us in that we get to see everybody and we should fill all of our slots as we add new camps. The other side, if you're a big and vibrant post, we would expect that you would have more than, say, 2 applicants or something. So we really ask that you go out there and work hard at trying to get get kids to apply. And along the same lines of underrepresented, please go out and reach out to some of those and possibly inner city schools or the schools that might have minority kids or something that don't get well represented in the engineering or STEM community, and at least float your application there and see if we can pick up some potential campers. So that's the long answer to where does the money come from.
Okay, thanks. And speaking of money, somebody asked how the payments for the camp will be handled. I'm going to say we're going to table that discussion at the moment. We are set up to accept payments here at SAME National, and we're going to try to do that because it would make it a lot easier for the entire accounting system, but we'll cross that bridge basically when we get to it. One other question came up is, do we have enough mentors? I would venture to say probably not. I don't know that. But if anybody's interested in being a mentor, by all means, express your interest, because it's better to have too many mentors than not enough mentors.
Well, the answer is absolutely not. We're way early in the recruiting process. We're after young members. The young members can really come from anywhere. Obviously, ideally SAME young members, because they understand our culture and they're in our system. But if you know of a young practicing engineer or STEM professional that may be in the Society of Electrical Engineers, aeronautical engineers, or anywhere that you associate, or a partner firm that you deal with, please encourage them, because we need upwards of 50 mentors to fill all the slots across our camps this summer. We probably got less than, I don't know, maybe a half dozen, maybe a dozen that I can count so far. So we've got a very, very long way to go. And if you come from a large post, please float the idea that in addition to sponsoring kids as a great professional development pathway for your young members, the post also sponsors, or at least identifies, one young member mentor to be part of the program. So, and I guarantee you the mentor that attends will have as much fun as the kid, and they will get as much, if not more, out of it. So please take that message back to your post board.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We've recorded it, so we'll make this available. If you want to look at it again, we'll get you that link, and obviously the dates, the emails, all the pertinent information that we had in our presentation slide earlier. And thanks for joining us. Questions, you can certainly contact myself. You can contact Natasha. Scott's certainly available to answer questions as well. And we're looking forward to a great new camp season. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.